Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time you are watching us. Welcome to another episode of the Steadfast Pursuit. I will be your host, Murkom and Joy, or better yet, Shori for Maldives. And on today's episode, wapi drum rolls. Yes. This is the time to take your juice, chukua popcorn, sit down, relax, and enjoy, because we are going to flatter you. We are going to make you feel bad as a single soul. We are going to make you question, mbona hauna mtu? Valentine is coming. Where is your? Jiulize hiyo ukiwa hapo. I have two amazing people on here. They're going to introduce themselves because I don't want to niingie katika pahali ambapo sifai. Manake they are a couple. They said I do about how many months ago?
6 months.
Couple of months ago. 6 months, and I'm 6 months. So they're almost turning 1 year, and I'm really happy and glad to have them. So I will take this opportunity to give the head of the house, tunavyoambiwa kwenye Biblia, kwamba mume ndiye kichwa cha nyumba. So karibu sana. I won't introduce him. He will introduce himself and then proceed to tell us how he will go about the introduction. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Joy, for having us here. First and foremost, we would like to thank God for allowing us to have this session. Thank you to the One Youth and the Steadfast Pursuit podcast for considering us to be here. And secondly, before we introduce ourselves, I'd like to acknowledge the good work that the Steadfast Pursuit podcast is doing. From the 1 or 2 editions that I've watched, I've really loved the work that you're doing, and God is using you to do a very great work.
Amen.
So asanteni sana.
Asante. Karibu sana.
Asante.
You can proceed to tell us who you are, what you do, who you have come with. Ama kama umekuja peke yako pia unaweza sema uko peke yako.
Asante.
Yes.
So to begin with, I am Edwin Kiprotich Kiplagat. Kiplagat is my surname. Others call me Edwin Kiplagat. Okay. Others call me Edwin Kiprotich. So my first identity is that I'm a child of God. That I'm a born-again Christian, and I profess Christ both in word and in deed. My second identity, I'm a husband to one wife. To be specific, a female wife.
Yes.
In this generation, you have to be specific in that. Yeah, so I'm a husband to one wife. So that's my second identity. My third identity is that I am a civil engineer by profession. Yeah, so let me also have the honor to introduce her, and then she'll also have a chance to speak.
Okay, asante sana. So, over to you, the wife.
Yeah.
Okay, let him start. Yeah.
It's okay. So, as you asked, I've come along with my wife. Okay. Let me say the landlady to my loving soul. Yeah, my wife, Daisy Cherono. So she is my rib, my lost rib that was found. Yeah, so let me give her the opportunity to also speak.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. Yeah, we are really glad and grateful to God and to the youth ministry for finding us worthy of sitting here today and just sharing together. My name is Daisy Cherono. As you said, he's my husband. I am the wife of 6 months. Yeah, and I really thank God for that title. It's been one that I have won with joy and gratitude, both to God and to him. Yeah, and we're really grateful to be here.
Okay, asanteni sana. If you're not feeling bad, I hope unarudi hapo kwa my rib. If you haven't found yours, please, kaa na zako kwanza mpaka yako itolewe. For the man. For the lady, ngojea yako iongezwe. Asanteni sana. So we're going to hear just a brief summary of how you guys met, where you guys met. Kama ulipitia connections, kama ulienda juu na chini mabonde, milima, kumpata. Yes, we just want to hear how you guys met, then we'll move from there. So who's free to go first?
So maybe I can pick it up, then I'll let her finish the rest of the story.
Okay.
She knows how she'll continue with it. So, actually, it's providential that the youth ministry and Steadfast Pursuit podcast, you've invited us to this edition, because it is exactly 5 years ago that we met. When I talk about exactly, take it to mean that it is exact. it was actually providential. Because on a day like this 5 years ago, it was on Friday 5th, 2020, 7th of February. 7th of February 2020 is when we met. And the day before yesterday, that was 7th of February 2025, it was on a Friday. So on Friday, we were celebrating our 5 years anniversary. And the day before that, I was actually telling my wife that now that we are just reminiscing, or rather remembering when we met, because we met at One Youth Bible Study on a Friday. So I was telling her, maybe to reminisce the memories, we can come and attend the Youth Bible Study. Then we didn't make to. Then once I get home, she tells me that you have called her and invited us to this podcast. So even though we were avoiding coming back to One Youth, so God meant it that we come back here this moment.
And thank you so much for honoring the invite as well. Is this 5 years of friendship? Is this 5 years of dating? Ndio tuelewe.
5 years of both knowing each other and friendship, and also dating.
Okay.
So I'll maybe let me continue the question that you had asked.
Tuende sasa kwa dating. How did he find you? How were you found?
Okay, so I will take you back to where he's left it. So we met on a Friday during a Bible study. That day, I was the first person kufika Bible study. Tulikuwa pale church hall at the time. So then the next two people who walked in were my husband here and KK. So they said, hi, who are you? Because I was relatively new. I was a member of Hill Voices, but I had not really plugged into One Youth. So when we came back after finishing third year and now starting fourth year, I was like, I'm going to be serious and attend Bible study, One Youth. So that was my first day attending Bible study, One Youth. Yeah, so I introduced myself and I'm like, my name is Daisy with a Z. So that Daisy with a Z is the thing that stuck with Edwin. So he says like he was Bible study hapo amekaa, he's just thinking of this Daisy with a Z. And then, so after Bible study, he comes and meets me. I think that time nilikuwa naongea na Josiah. He comes and then he's like, unaweza niruhusu niende nioshe hii kikombe, alafu nitakuja kukuongelesha. So in my head, I'm like, I don't know you. We've just met today. You're requesting me to allow you go wash your cup. Alafu urudi uniongeleshe. I'm like, fine, it's okay. I didn't wait. Tukapanda bus. But it happens that hiyo place nilikuwa nimepanda, hii bus moja tu ya Milimani. Hakukuwa na mtu amekaa kando yangu. So Mungu akasaidia boy child. He came and sat with me. We had a chit chat. Tukaenda tukashuka kama kawaida, and then it happens stage yake ilikuwa na bus station huko chini, pia mimi nilikuwa naenda Lang'ata hizo side, so tukatembea pamoja push. And then kwa stage, this is a man you've met for the first time. He's like, my friend lost the mom and I am new in the place I'm working in, so I don't know if I ask for permission to go for the funeral, itakani kama mimi ni joker. But the other option is to send my dad. Why don't you give me your number so that once I decide on whether I will go or I'll send my dad, I will let you know. In my head, I'm still like, you guy, I don't even know you. But Daisy alipeana number. And I got home that day and I remember telling Masikurgat, because we were staying together, I think I have met the person. I think God is preparing for me as a husband. Evo too. Yeah.
Okay.
And here we are.
Very good, very good. So I would like to testify that kwa Vauzia Edu, he started with Daisy with a Z.
Yes.
Very important. Step 1, kuja Bible study. Kuwa number 1. Step 2, kuwa na very unique name. With a Z. Weka. Kama yako ni S, jikaze. The other question I'd like to ask, did he ask you out officially? Did you have to guess that you're a girlfriend? How did you go about that? Or rather, let me ask you, did you have to ask her, or did you automatically say, nimemwomba number, she's automatically my girlfriend? I mean, I'm the only one she saw. We sat together, nimemtembeza hadi town. What more could she want?
Yeah, so for us, it was quite interesting because we met on 7th February on a Friday. The next Friday was a Valentine's Day, and we just came for Bible study as usual. Then after the Bible study, because I was in a role, or rather in my first job that I got was about sales, and it was really stressing me. And we used to have, like, on Saturdays, we used to have a sales meeting, and one had to always get prepared to go with feedback. So it was stressing me so much, and the week had been tough. So that Friday, I really needed someone to talk to. So guess what? The lady whom we met a week earlier, I just told her, I'm really stressed and I really want someone to talk to. Can we maybe have an outing on that Friday after Bible study?
Okay.
And she accepted, and that was, maybe let me say, our first date, though it was not that official.
Okay.
But 2 weeks after, we had our first date at Arboretum. So she might explain the details
Okay.
very much well,
Hapo
better
sasa.
than I do.
Nangoja useme you were asked.
Yeah, so how we ended up on that date ya Arboretum,
Yes.
we were chatting to kawaida as friends, and then he's like, tunezenda for a walk Arboretum. I'm like, what will, you know that nini, what will your girlfriend think? You know, you want to know whether this person akona mtu, you know. He's like, no, niko peke yangu na wewe atafeel aje, and I'm like, no, pia mimi, there's no one. And then yeah, we went to Arboretum, and then COVID hit. So COVID hits, everybody goes back home. So mi nilirudi Ushago, he stayed back in Nairobi because of work. So we used to chat. We even used to do Bible study together on phone as friends. Yeah, so I remember we started reading the book of Ephesians together. Hatukumaliza, but by God's grace, we happen to be living Ephesians chapter 5 right now. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so nikiwa home, so we were friends, chat. And then there's this time I felt sick. So tulikuwa tumefika ile point yenye, are we really still friends? But haujaanza hujauliza.
Yes.
So this time I fall sick, and then I let him know. And then now he's empathizing with me. And then he says, Ati, I'm so sorry, sweetheart, about how you're feeling. And I'm like, you guy.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, and I'm like, that question.
Who are we?
Who
What
are we?
Yes.
Yeah, and he answers it, and he's like, you're my girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, fine. Funny thing, we don't remember that exact date.
Okay.
So anytime we think of our anniversary, that was around July. But anytime we think of our anniversary, we just remember when we first met.
Okay.
And then now the one for the wedding.
Okay. Asante
Yeah.
sana. Back to you viewers. Kama uko na notebook, number 1, fika Bible study mapema. Number 2, have a unique name. Number 3, mwanzie kitabu cha Ephesians. Hapo sasa ndo siri. Please. Tunaendelea kusonga. Now, I'd like to understand that you guys were in relationships before you met each other, yes? There were heartbreaks. You guys left each other before you were together, right? So kwa hiyo past relationships, how would you say these past relationships shaped your view on love? Did it hurt you to an extent where I cannot give myself, a full 100%? Because what people say these days is, wacha mimi nijieke kidogo, ndampenda tu nusu. Mguu moja ndani, mguu moja nje. In case of anything, I will not be the one who is character developed. Mimi ndio sasa PhD ya hiyo shule. So how was it for you? Did you heal first before you went into another relationship? Did it hurt you? Did it have any lessons? Okay, we can start. Whoever is free.
Ladies first.
Okay. Hey, step 4, step 5. Let your ladies speak first.
Yeah. Personally, I had been in other relationships before meeting Edwin. I think 3. Yeah. And funny thing is, from the first relationship I was in, I entered each relationship with a view to getting married.
Okay.
There's no day I got into a relationship zile za kujibamba tu, and because people around are dating and so I have to date.
Yes.
No, we always talked marriage in any of those relationships, just that by God's will, he didn't intend that they would blossom into this. What I would learn from them, I came from a secure home. I never, anytime a relationship ended, I never questioned myself or whether I need to think twice about love and marriage. No. So the thing that those relationships taught me is this, or what we can derive from that: never get into a relationship for fun. Yeah. You do not take people's hearts as a hobby. You go in there with a purpose. And the only legit purpose for being in a relationship is if you want to marry. Yeah. So if you don't want to, you have no business being in a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess my take at point is do not take people's hearts as a hobby. Tafadhali. Hiyo inafaa kuwa daily mantra. Msikuwe mnacheza soka, volleyball, nani roho ya mtu jamani. Mshike kwa upole, ndio end up kama hawa wawili. Thank you. Edu, what would you say? Have you been in previous relationships? Have they taught you anything?
Yeah. So thank you for that. So mine is the complete opposite of what she said. She was going into relationships with a view of marriage. So for me, as calm as I look, mi ndo nilikuwa napeana character development. So I was in 3 previous relationships, and the first one didn't work out. Of course, it was like infatuation. Can't say that you were that serious. The second one and the third one, I was the one who was not serious about it. Mi ndo nilikuwa naenda kuambiana the news like we have been together but I don't see us going far from here. Mi ndo nilikuwa napeana character development. So for those 2 times, the way I saw the lady reacting, it used to make me like feel remorseful. So just like she has said, I feel like for my part, I was dating because of pressure, because I was in campus. So maybe to look like I have a girlfriend because my peers have girlfriends. So I would say avoid recreational dating. Just dating because of show or infatuation, that is recreational dating. So date with a purpose. So for me, the lesson I learned from the question that you asked is that we need to have commitment. Be committed and know what you are getting into. So you be intentional from the first step. Like we are in this because of marriage, not just something that will end up to be like infatuation or you end up breaking someone's heart.
Okay, now that you decided to leave School of Character Development, what made you settle on Daisy? What made you not recreate her? Kama venye umekuwa ukifanyia wengine kwa recreational. Why were you serious with Daisy with a Z?
So thank you for that question. So just before I met Daisy, when I was clearing campus, I had that sense of wanting to look for a girlfriend whom we can settle with. So I cleared campus and I didn't get someone. But now coming to AIC Milimani, and after fellowshipping for a while, and I knew that I really wanted to start dating for marriage. This time I was intentional. Yeah, so I knew what I'm getting into. And of course, even when we started dating with a Daisy, I realized that we share the same purpose in terms of marriage. So I could not let her go. Of course, if you get such a precious thing or a precious person, you
Precious
can't let her go.
thing, my rib. Nabado. So Daisy, I'd just like to ask you, when you guys were dating, were you still in school?
Yes.
You were in school?
Yes.
Did you ever feel like he's pressurizing you? Because I've heard him say he had finished campus and he was now ready to settle. Did you ever feel as though he's rushing you? Aja kuacha hata uenjoy, ujamaliza hata shule uone wanaume wengine. Did you ever feel like he's rushing you or were you ready at that time?
I was ready to date,
Okay.
but I was not ready for marriage. And he was very patient. I was in med school, yes. Ndo nilikuwa naanza 4th year, which is things are starting to get real and serious for the next 3 years until 6th year. I never felt pressure. He gave me the time. And funny thing, even my classmates used to wonder, because it's interesting for me that people can be in relationships and talk like once a week. For us, we used to talk every single day from the day we started becoming friends, not even dating. We would talk in the morning. We would check on each other midday. We would check on each other in the evening. So it would be good morning. Have you woken up? Yes. Ivo, gotten to work. Akifika kwa ofisi, he will call me. lunchtime we will talk, ndo inaenda lunch, akirudi kwa ofisi he will call, we will talk. In the evening we will talk, nimefika home, something like that. And at night before sleeping. Still as a medical student, like tungetoka word round and I'm like this on my phone and my friends know. Yeah, so it was never an issue, and yet I would still find time to study. Yeah. And I think the thing that helped us to date we dated for, say, tulijuana for 4.5 years before getting married. We had this slogan, I don't know if you remember, that living is not an option. Yeah, so whatever happens, we have to work it within ourselves to make this work.
Okay.
Yeah, at some point I didn't live up to it, but he stood up to it, and yeah, he was able to, yeah.
Okay, inaonekana engineer alichukulia kosi yako very serious. Pale walisema daily dose. Unapiga asubuhi, jioni, mchana, usiku.
QID.
times 5. So you want times 5 every single day, which is very, very nice. Now, since you're an engineer, you're a doctor. I'd just like to understand the dynamics, because you were in school at that time. How are you balancing the communication, the love part, and your work, and your school, and, your personal life? Then we'll also get back to you. How are you balancing job and the relationship, calling her every single, after every break? Yes.
Yeah. So I think for me, the advice I would give somebody is this: for you to be able to do all this, marry a friend.
Okay.
Yeah. Or rather, have a friend to be someone you're dating with. Because for me, it was so easy. I would have time with my friends, Kina Chepu and Fancy. I would have time with him. I would have time to spend with my family in Langata. I would have time to fellowship in the choir. I would have time to fellowship with classmates and go out with them. So I think when you marry a friend and somebody who is secure, or date somebody who is secure and mature, they understand that in as much as you have this relationship together, you are still Daisy and he's Edwin. You can still live out your lives. So I think also being mindful of each other. Yeah. So
that is very mindful, very cutesy, very demure. And as I can testify again, that she's a doctor. So which means he gave you time to read. He did not derail you, how kupata supplementaries. You were able to, finish school, succeed.
Never.
And now you are where you are. Yes, engineer.
So for me, I'd say, if you get a friend, you'll notice that you won't have to struggle with being mindful of lazima, like you let me say it won't be mechanical. So you'll just notice that there's a time you'd want to create time for this relationship, or rather the friendship that you've started. So for me, I'd say, of course, being intentional, but I'd also say in the other perspective that if you get a friend, that you'll find time for shared activities together, even if the other person is in a busy schedule. Maybe the whole week, times when she was doing exams, the whole week she's in class and also doing the exams. So you'll always look forward to creating time for shared activities. So if she's busy, maybe you set a date and say that on such and such a day, we're going to meet for this shared activity. If it's a date, if it's maybe going out. So being intentional, yes, but if something is built on a solid foundation of friendship, you won't struggle. It won't be mechanical. It will just flow. Yeah.
Pale kwa notebook, kama umesahau, chukua kalamu, andike friendship. Uanze mkiwa friends. Usiende uchukue mtu town unamwambia tuende na ni wewe ni wangu, mimi ni wako. Know the person, be friends. Then umesema it will all sink in and itakuwa very amazing, very fruitful. Yes.
Yeah.
So in these 5 years, have you guys had conflict? If yes, how have you been able to resolve it? Did someone? I remember you said there was a part you wanted to leave, but you guys said there's no leaving. And he really stood on business and sat on it and put a ring on it. Now, has there been any conflict? If yes, how have you guys resolved it?
yeah. So yes, there have been conflicts.
Okay.
Some minor, some major, by whatever scale you choose to use personally. Yeah. But we are not angels. And not all times are we able to resolve conflict in a way that pleases the Lord or in a way that, is ideal. But I'm sorry, but we will keep saying this thing like a friend. So the thing that has helped Edwin and I resolve this conflict, and there's a time we had a major conflict, the thing that helped me change my mind is just asking yourself the question, Edwin is your friend. So when you just remember one thing, your partner has your best interest at heart and not malicious towards you. So whatever he does that pisses you off or offends you, it's not from a point of ametoka, akaka, akaplan, akapanga that I am going to hurt this person or disappoint this person, So it's something that just happens because after all, we are human, we fall. Yeah, so one, when you know that your partner has your best interest at heart and is not malicious towards you, it makes things easier. In the sense that when we have conflicts, say even in marriage, we don't silent treat each other. I will still cook as a wife. He will still provide as a man. We will still talk about politics. We will still talk about family, even if not talking about that particular issue, because it's not everything you address like immediately. And eventually we are able to resolve the conflict and everybody's happy, but si ati menyamaziana and all. But that only comes when you're friends.
Okay. I like that. And I guess what I'm also picking is communication. You guys had have a very healthy communicating skill that hata ikuwe mbaya aje. We are not leaving. We are here to solve it. Even if it's not now, we will still look for time to solve it. But in the meantime, we are still sharing the love, we're still together and all. No one is threatening to leave. So kwako Edu, it has been, let me say, 4 years and some months. Tuende kwa proposal sasa. How did you feel? How are you able to plan? Because tuliona mtandaoni hapa na pale. How did it make you feel? Were you comfortable? Did you feel the pressure because you're seeing, lazima sasa ni propose, amesema ni propose. Did you have it in mind or had she forced you to, propose to her before she walks down the aisle? How are the dynamics when it comes to proposal? Because I'm helping someone out there. Kuna mtu ataenda propose siku ya Valentine's. Hii ni kwa ajili yako.
Yeah, so proposing, it's not a must. Let me say that first of all before I continue, so that someone else doesn't crumble to pressure. So I think what matters is that two of you are in the same page.
Okay.
Yeah, so to answer your question, at first I had planned to propose. So actually that year, because we had told each other, or rather we had agreed that immediately she clears her medical school, we are going to start our plans for wedding or rather marriage. Yeah, so she cleared June of that year, that is last year 2024. And then I had planned to propose before we start our plans for the wedding. So that year we had a trip to Mombasa, that is for the Hill Voices. So I had planned, or rather set in my mind, that it would be the right time to propose now that we had a chance to go together. But I was clouded with a lot of activities at that moment because I was the one organizing the event. So it didn't work out. So immediately after that, I didn't keep it in my mind so much, but we started also planning for the show up. And after a while, you see, when you are friends with someone and you are there together, when you meet, of course, there is that way you can read or rather hear what she says. So from what I was hearing from her from afar is that she wanted me to propose. Okay. So I knew that I could not escape this. So I had to plan. Okay. So actually her friends really helped me a lot. So, and when she was graduating, that day, that is when I proposed. So yes, I had planned to propose, but at first it didn't work out so well. But after a while, I had to go back to my plan and I proposed.
Asante sana. This goes to all ladies. Make sure you have good friends who will help you plan for your proposal. Unaona sasa kama Edu alisaidiwa na the friends. And to the men, make sure you know your girlfriend's friends, good friends. Thank you. How did you feel, daktari? Ulisikia vizuri, ulisikia butterflies? Were you expecting it? Were you not expecting it?
He's really tried to be modest, which I really like about him.
Okay.
But yeah, the way he says, ametuma wazazi wake kwetu for show up.
Mhm.
The guy has not proposed.
Kweli, kweli.
Sikai kuona plans. You know. No, wait, which one came first? No, we are seriously talking about marriage,
Okay.
have put in place plans, but nothing about proposal is forthcoming. And then the thing about Edu, sometimes it's hard to read whether he's serious or he's joking.
Okay.
So anytime we talk about it, he's like, where in the Bible do they say that proposal is important, And you're like, are you serious? Are you joking? I had to go on a hunt kwa scriptures, kutafuta ni wapi, wanasema proposal ni important. And I found it actually.
Okay. Share it with us. Ndio pia
Yeah,
sisi
when
tupeleke.
Abraham sent his servant to Rebecca, alimtuma na, like
Kitu.
ornaments,
Yes.
ring.
Very
Yeah. So there was a sign, Of course, I'm not saying you take that literally, but I was trying to find something to
Yes.
hang on to.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I really pestered him, Kiplani. But now the funny thing is, I didn't see it coming.
Okay.
I knew that now that I've pestered him, I was going to know for sure
When it will happen.
Yeah, and then he decides to propose on the day of my graduation. They planned it so well. Yeah, the details, itutabaki hapa, but I cried like a baby.
Aw, that's what you want.
Yeah. They walinidanganya that we were going for an after party, graduation party, one of our friends who had graduated on the same day. So they say this will be the dress code, and I'm there really planning. Hadi I'm telling my mom in Langata, there's this place we are going, ni usiku, so Timon asijue, my dad
yes.
now asijue. Apparently she's part of this entire plan. And me, I'm going there. Hadi, now we are going with Edu and Fancy, and Edu, they're acting like they don't know exactly the direction. So it's Chepu who is already there. So she's trying to give us the direction to the Uber guy.
Okay.
And then somehow we get there and we are confused. How they went ahead of me,
You don't
how
know.
I found somebody kneeling down, like it was,
And what
yeah.
happened?
Hey, yeah, he outdid himself.
From him, you have the ring.
Yeah.
Show it to them.
Yeah.
Wasione.
Hey,
Ndio
guys.
hiyo sasa.
Haikuwa hii, but yeah.
Ni hiyo. Bora ameweka. Ehe.
Yeah, so.
To all the men, ini note, best time to propose after graduation. Shikilia hiyo na upite nayo na ukimbie nayo. Now as we wind up, I just want you guys to tell us the best advice either you have heard of or you can give to couples out here, to people who are single, who are looking towards marriage or dating or just, being in a love circle. And by circle, I mean the two of you mnazungukwa na mapenzi. See circle of people who are asante. So you can just give us either an advice that you personally received from someone or one that you can give. Yes.
The first one I have already mentioned. We have said it several times about marrying your friend. The second most important one is this. The only kind of love that will sustain a relationship or a marriage is the 1 Corinthians 13 love. No other kind of love can sustain a marriage. The kind of love that is being sold out in our generation today is the kind of love, there's somebody who calls it a Greco-Roman kind of love. Like, you make me happy, you mean the world to me. So what happens when he no longer makes you happy? He no longer means the world to you. You can no longer cross the ocean for that person. And then now you hear, I'm no longer happy. My happiness comes first. And those are your grounds for breaking a relationship or a marriage.
Yes.
The 1 Corinthians 13 kind of love encourages the fact that in the context of marriage, it's not about happily ever after. It's about staying married for the purposes for which God intended. So your husband or your boyfriend is not there to grant you happiness. You get? The 1 Corinthians 13 love is not a love that receives. It's a love that looks, what can I give? You get? It is kind. It does not keep a record of wrongs. It is everything that is not the love that we see out here. You get? Yeah. So if you can have the 1 Corinthians 13 love in your marriage, in your relationship, that is the one that stands. Because relationships lead to marriage. Marriage was instituted by God for our sanctification and for us to exemplify the relationship between Christ and the church. So by the time you go into marriage or a relationship and see what's in it for me, remember Christ gave his life. The church gave his life to Christ. So it's about giving. So if it's not that, then it's going to be difficult. It may not really stand the test of time.
Okay, asante sana. Some wise words there, engineer.
Yeah, I think I'll still build up on what she has said, and tutakuchosha na this phrase of friendship. Yeah, so the most important advice that I've gotten is that you need to build friendship even in the relationship. And in that friendship, what matters is dying to self. So I think I'll refer to, I know she has referred to 1 Corinthians 13.
Yes.
I'll refer to Philippians 3, is it 3:2 or 2:3, whereby when that chapter begins, Paul writes and says, if there is an example that we can borrow from Christ, is putting the needs of others ahead of our own needs. Do nothing out of selfish motives. So if you realize that you have built friendship in your relationship and even in marriage, you'll note that you'll always have the best interest of the other person, that is of your partner. And in that best interest, you need to put her interests even ahead of yours. The problem why, or rather the reason why most relationships nowadays and even marriages break is because of selfishness. Have you ever heard of that phrase that I was searching for my own happiness? Choose yourself. Choose your happiness. So people have started dating for 3 months, then they get into a conflict, then you're not happy for 2 weeks or 5 days, and you say that I walked away because I was choosing my own happiness. I was choosing self. That is actually contrary to what the Bible tells us, that we need to die to self and put the needs of the other person ahead of you. So if you build a solid foundation of friendship, you will cultivate that and you'll always be selfless. So in a relationship, you should aim to build friendship and put the needs of the other person ahead of yours.
Okay.
There's one more that we forgot. Someone we both know said, show me someone who was married out of love alone, and I'll show you a fool. In short, love alone, or this physical attraction, let me say, is not enough to sustain a relationship or a marriage. So make sure you don't compromise other things in the name of namfeel huyu mtu. You get? Number one, do not be unequally yoked.
Yes.
There's a pastor who says he can officiate a marriage between two non-believers. He can officiate a marriage between two believers, but he cannot officiate a marriage between a believer and a non-believer. So you cannot be a child of God and give up on waiting, and then you find this person who does not believe, is not a believer, and you're like, let me just, get married anyway. It is wrong. After all, there are so many ways that God is using to get us to the ultimate. We have two kinds of marriages. There's this momentary marriage and there's the ultimate marriage. It pleases the Lord to take some people through this momentary marriage here on earth, and there are some people he has called on the path of singlehood, all with an aim of one thing. His will is to sanctify us. So if he chooses to take you through the path of marriage for your sanctification, for sure he cannot choose a godless man or woman for you. You get, God cannot bend his rules to make you happy. So to the extent that it is not in line with God's will, don't think that it makes God happy, or don't even think that it's going to make you happy, unless by God's mercies, he chooses to conform this person into his image, which, yeah, I hope you get it. Yeah.
Okay, asante sana. So wale wa love at first sight, msiachie hapo. Ongeza nguvu kidogo. Usiseme tu mapenzi, nilimuona nikampenda tukakuwa. jikaze kidogo. So sasa ni pahali pa kuweka popcorn chini, weka juice chini kwa sababu tunataka kuwafilisha vibaya sana. If you're single, please hold your comforter, jifunike too tightly. If you have someone, mnaweza shikana mikono, because this last part is about to get very spicy, very lovely, very emotional. I'm not so sure about that, but we're just about to make single people feel very single. We're going to read love letters. What better way to end the month or to celebrate this month of love other than having letters, love letters, in fact. So we are going to start with Edu. You're going to read us your love letter, not to anyone else, but to your wife, to your rib, to your Daisy with a Z. Sawa sawa? And then Daisy with a Z, you're also going to do the same to your husband, to the one who put a ring on it. Mnavyoona. Form 32B. Live and direct. A whole paragraph. I hope you're ready. Mujishikilie. Maana ni teremko. Yes.
So thank you for the opportunity. Niko na evidence kwa karatasi. So, my letter today is titled, My Love, My Gift from God. That is the title of my letter. And the salutation is, My Dearest Daisy. It's Daisy with a Z. So, here I begin. I still can't believe I get to call you my wife. God's masterpiece, beautifully crafted and wonderfully made. Every day I ought to thank God for the blessing of walking this journey with you. It has been 5 years of knowing each other and 6 months of marriage, and I wish I was born married. Not only born married, but born married to you. Into brackets, read that as well. I have written in capital letters, born married to you, and an emoji of smile. You are my answered prayers, my Proverbs 31 woman. From the very first day, I knew there was something different about you. Not just your intelligence and beauty, into brackets, which by the way are both dangerously high, both your intelligence and your beauty. You're beautiful. But your heart for God, your kindness, the way you light up a room with your smile. Just recently in our choir practice, we are doing a Hallelujah song for Easter carols. She was given a Hallelujah nickname in the choir, Kulikayanze, just because of her infectious smile, just because of your infectious smile, proving my point. You are the best. You know, the Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 10, that two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other. Close the quotes. My darling, I can confidently say that you have been my help, my strength, my greatest encourager. Even on the days I am stressed about work, you know it well, or over-analyzing decisions, as I am an overthinker, you remind me to trust God and rest in His plan. I love the way we laugh together, whether it's about something silly or our random deep conversations that start with, how was your day? And end up with, imagine if you were born in heaven. Or rather end up with, imagine if Noah built a bridge instead of an ark. But beyond the laughter, I treasure the depth of our love, the prayers we share, how we push each other to grow in Christ. Oh, how I pray that our love will always be rooted in Him, that is Christ, that we'll continue to seek His wisdom, and that we'll never lose the joy of doing life together. So here is my commitment to you, my darling, that I will cherish you, honor you, and strive to love you as Christ loved the church. That is the Ephesians 5 love. You are my greatest blessing, and I love you more than words can express. Forever yours, signed, your babe, Edwin.
We.
Wow. Thank you.
Ni kumoto manze. Sisi single souls, not one, not two, not three, not four, not... Hey. Wananimaliza na machozi. Acha tusonge kwa daktari. You can read us your love letter.
Okay. For the record, I'm not an orator and I'm not a writer like he is. Yeah, and doctor's notes are very few. So straight to the point. Yeah, so Edwin, my dear husband, tomorrow marks exactly 6 months of being your wife. A title I wear with joy and much gratitude to God and to you. Thank you for leading our family so passionately and for loving me sacrificially as Christ loves the church. Thank you for with you I am content. You have been used of God to shape me and sanctify me through and through for his glory. I pray that God will continually keep us in him and sustain us by his mighty hand, that he shall bless us and grant us long life in the land of the living, that we may live to see his goodness and faithfulness. You are an amazing husband, my most treasured friend and confidant, a seasoned spiritual leader to our home. You're a passionate professional seeking to honor God through your vocation, and I am convinced that you will be an amazing father, Baba Joanne. Yeah, in waiting. Yeah. Dear Edwin, my husband, I love you so much. I did, I still do, and always will.
Thank you. I love you too.
Thank you.
What can I say? Mimi labda nileteo maji. Wow, that has been a very beautiful, very emotional, very warm segment. And again, I just want to say asanteni sana for honoring this invite to be part of this amazing podcast, Steadfast Pursuit, just to talk about love. And I love how you guys have not, you're not shy to speak about it. You're not shy to say he's your husband, and you're not shy to say she is your wife. And from now henceforth, I just wish you nothing but prosperity, love, on love, on love, on more love.
Amen.
And even as you wait for baby Joanne,
Amen.
wacha niseme mimi nilijua jina wa kwanza. Akikuja mcheze hii clip. Yeah, may God just bless you guys as you continue with your family, as you continue building the love, the relationship, and in everything you do, may your territories be expanded more and more and more.
Amen.
Sasa wewe kama viewer, kama una notes, sijui unataka aje tena. Usije ukasema hawajasema tupendane, wasichana hawapatikani. First, kuja Bible study mapema kama msichana. Ya pili, kijana sema unaenda kuosha kikombe. Ambie tu msichana, hata kama hataki kujua, wewe mwambie tu. Ujui hiyo information itakupata wapi. Number 3, as a lady, wacha tu space kwa bus. Usikae usipendane na wengine. Wewe wacha your girlfriends waende kwingine. Leave that seat. You never know. God might bring that person. Na ukipelekwa town, kubali kutembezwa. Wacha kimbia. Walk slowly. Ukingojea masaa zako ufikiwe. And the last point, please marry your friend. As you have seen, there's so much love going on here. I personally feel bad, but I also don't feel bad because I know when my time comes. When my time comes, asante, he will also come. And come in a very big way. So if you're watching this, nakungoja, lakini asante sana. Sawa, thank you so much. I guess we are just going to have last comments on Valentine's. Since this episode is going out during Valentine's Day, you can just give us your last comments on what you think about Valentine's or any other thing you'd want to say just as we close up the segment.
Yeah, so Valentine's is a good day to celebrate love, but of importance is to celebrate love every day. Let every day be a day to celebrate love, whether or not it's not Valentine's Day. Yeah, and yeah.
Okay. Asante sana, msishangae mbona nashinda nimeangalia Daisy every single time. The husband gave me very strict rules. Ladies first. Thank you.
So for me, I'd also acknowledge that Valentine's is a good day. So it depends with the perspective. If you'd want to have something on Valentine's or rather celebrate your partner on Valentine's, it's okay. But if you don't share that ideology, still okay to acknowledge what your partner feels about it. As she has said, that we should celebrate love all days. It should not be only on one day. So I know it's a day that people commemorate love. So it's okay to have something for your partner, but it should not be tied on that one single day. That if he or she has not done something for you, that it be a deal breaker.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. It has been an amazing segment on love. I hope you have enjoyed wherever you are. I hope you have notes. I hope you feel loved. I hope you feel the need to initiate love. If you have seen a certain someone, this is your sign. I don't know unangojea sign gani ingine. This is the sign. Please reach out to that girl. As the girl, please peana space. Wacha ende oshe kikombe, akirudi maybe it's a ring anakuja nayo. I have been delighted and I have had so much fun. I feel so loved. I feel so warm in this segment. Asanteni sana. We will close it off at that. This has been the Steadfast Pursuit, specifically on the segment of love. We hope to see you on the next one. I have been your host, Murkomen Joy, or better yet, Shori for Maldives. Ngoja. Happy Valentine's. Asante sana.
Thank you so much.
Mumenifanya emotional.